permit me to record. The myth around public speaking. Spend a few minutes, and our goal is to discuss what are those misconceptions that surrounds this public speaking. So much talk about it. Let us debunk those myths. So welcome to class. If you have your notes, I'd like you to take down notes. They're very simple myths, but they are important that we pay attention to them. I want to debunk some very, very important. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Georges here, and I do a lot of things. People call me a polymath. Who is a polymath? Spelling Polymath. A polymath is someone who does a lot of things, who is gifted in a lot of things. So I write, I speak, I organize, I do a lot of things. I'm a social media enthusiast. I'm a technological enthusiast. I like to know things, and I also like to make money. And I learned public speaking many years ago. I was only 8 when I discovered that I should learn. I joined the debate society when I was 8, and it was a terrible experience because I was failing, falling, stumbling those periods. But I learned the ropes by studying books, observing people, attending programs, and today I'm paid to speak. So this topic, public speaking myth, one of the lessons I learned from a certain fellow called, I want to introduce you to him briefly. He happens to be my mentor in my journey to learning public speaking and training and consulting. I met this fellow. Interestingly, he bears my surname. His name is Ubong Asian. And that's his latest book. I think he wrote this book in 2018. Please, if you're just joining this group, I like joining the Zoom group. I'd like you to put off your mic so that we don't have interruptions. So this book, an amazing book, and if you live in Lagos, you can reach out to him. I'll place his phone number on the WhatsApp groups that we are in so that you can reach out to him, call him, or call his secretary and get this book. This book is massive. One of the best books on public speaking I have seen, written by a Nigerian. The topic we're addressing today on the myths surrounding public speaking is directly extracted from this book. I met him in 2003, and I've followed him since then, observed him. He was the publisher of the magazine Achievers Manual, and today he's the dean of a school called School of Eloquence, a public speaking school, an amazing guy, someone that you want to meet. Ubong Asian, CSP, he's Nigeria's only certified speaking professional. What that simply means is that there is a body called National Speakers Association, and that body is recognized internationally. And very few persons have gotten to that rank in Nigeria. In fact, nobody except him. You have likes of Les Brown, CSP. You have the likes of Brian Tracy, CSP, Patricia Fripp, CSP. So CSP is like the designation you get. It's a medallion you get once you have gotten to a certain level as a speaker, and is the only person in Nigeria. At some point, he was the only person in West Africa. Now, he does very, very high-class, top jobs, big organizations, John Holt, Tribune newspaper, LNG, Mobile, Shell. He takes executives from out of Nigeria to the United Kingdom or to America for trainings, public speaking trainings. Now, I'm charging you very little. He's doing for a 1-day session, public speaking session, he does sometimes 80,000 naira for 1 day or 2 days. An amazing guy. That's him with Brand Tracy. If you're in his public speaking industry or you're in the training industry, you probably have read Brand Tracy. You should have in your library books of Brand Tracy. I feel that he's a specialist when it comes to sales. Books like The Psychology of Sales, Advanced Selling Strategies, and there are many other books like Eat That Frog. I mean, there are many books that he has written that you should get. That's Brand Tracy with him. And he's a top speaker. You can also follow him on Facebook and follow him on YouTube. One of those women, though old now, who I'm really inspired by is that lady he's doing a thumbs up with. Her name is Patricia Free, one of the most successful Toastmasters, one of the most successful speakers female speakers in the world. Her name is Patricia Free. If you want to check her out, let me spell it for you in case you have your laptop close to you or you have an extra phone where you will Google her up. The spelling is Patricia. That's Patricia Free, FRIP.com. Or just Google that up and you get to see a lot of her details. An amazing woman. She works with top level organizations and teach them sales, emphasis, Fonte, sales and communications. So Ubong Lisien is a guy you need to work. That chain or that medallion he has, the one that he's wearing close to Brand Tracy is the certification as the only Nigerian certified speaker. All right, so you want to visit him and check him out. Someone I consider a mentor, someone that you can learn a lot from. You'll see where I get some of my ideas from when it comes to speaking. www.ubongacn.com, www.mrmotivator.com, and then his school. You can also check them out, check their curriculum. And if you have the opportunity, you could participate. www.schoolofeloquence.com. Is it .com or .org? I think it's .com. All right, so let's get into our subject matter. Now, this quote is quite striking, though if you don't understand it, if you don't listen carefully, you might not understand what is said here. I'd like you to first of all take your Bible and write it out. Just write it out. What does the term extemporaneous mean? Extemporaneous mean. Underline it. A new word a lot for those of you who are increasing your vocabulary. Extemporaneous. Write that word down. Extemporaneous and oral harangues, that's how it's pronounced, harangues, will always have the advantage over those that read from a manuscript. So there's a correction that will always have the advantage over those that read from a manuscript. What does extemporaneous mean? And what does oral harangues means? He basically talks about you speaking by inspiration, speaking spontaneously, speaking without knowledge. All right. Anyone who speaks by inspiration, who speaks intelligently, who's able to think on his feet and speak, even when he was not told ahead of time, is doing what's called an extemporaneous speech. Every burst of eloquence or spark of genius they may contain, however studied they may have been beforehand, will appear to the audience to be the effect of a sudden inspiration of talents. All right. What is a myth? When we say a myth, what do we mean by a myth? A public speaking myth. Now, basically, a myth is a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining a natural or social phenomenon and typically involving supernatural beings or events. That's what a myth is. So we have myths and legends. We have myths and legends of people. Let me make it a lot easier for you to understand. And this is what you should write down. If you want to write anything that has to do with a myth. A myth is a widely held but false belief or idea. Now, there are many widely held beliefs about public speaking, but they are false. There are a lot of ideas we have about public speaking, but they are false. So my job today is to debunk them, to make you see the reality of them. This information will help you to become a better speaker. Don't join the myriads of people or the number of people who talk about these myths. You want to be able to focus on the realities, on the truths. That's what makes you a better speaker. And that's why this topic is so important. You want to stay with facts and uncover them. Everything that seems shrouded, public speaking sometimes feels shrouded with a mystery. It seems to be a gift or a skill exclusive to a certain people. Our goal today is to uncover the facts, to debunk the myths, and to give you a correct perspective about public speaking. Please, if you're not joining, I'd like you to mute your mic. If you just come into the group, please mute your mic. All right. So let's start with the first myth that you hear a lot of people say. You go around in your office. I want you to write this myth down. It's a very major myth. Say, I'm not a public speaker. Public speaking is not for people like me. These are the people that will say public speakers are born. They are not made. I mean, I'm not a public speaker. I don't think I'm a public speaker. We're having a t-shirt done, and I probably want to have everyone around in our school to also have that t-shirt. And the t-shirt has emblazoned on it, I am a public speaker. Imagine you walking with a t-shirt on the streets or going for an event, and that t-shirt says, I am a public speaker. Just imagine the impact you will have on people. People will call you, please come, can you speak for us? So there's this notion people have, and it's a myth, that I'm not a public speaker. Public speaking is not for people like me. So let's debunk it. What's the reality? What's the reality? What's the reality? The reality is this. One of the greatest needs in our lives is the need to communicate. We all speak in public somehow. Public speaking goes far beyond standing on stage before 100 persons. We are presenting ourselves before our friends. We are presenting ourselves before our associates. We are presenting ourselves even before strangers. As a matter of fact, life is one big presentation. I've told you this before, that public speaking is an obligatory skill. For those of you who have listened to Public Speaking Made Easy, probably this doesn't sound new. Public speaking is an obligation. It's a skill that is obligatory. At a certain point in your life, in your career, in your business, the mic will be brought to you. At the lower rung or cadre of life, emphasis is more on your technical abilities, what you can do, what you can technically do. But as you go higher, and if you really want to go higher, more emphasis will be on your leadership abilities, on your managerial abilities, and on your communication abilities. Your ability to manage and communicate, to inspire, to resolve, to solve problems. They're more focused on leadership and public speaking, speaking before a crowd, speaking before groups. So the man who can speak is the one who leads. All right. And so there's need for you to grow. And everybody at some point in church, you need to share testimonies. The reality is that speaking is for everybody. We are social beings. All right. So that's a major reality. I need you to pay attention to it. Very major reality. Public speaking is not. Let me give you another myth that a lot of people, say they have. What's the second myth? That myth is that when you are speaking, and I want you to be very careful about this, it's something that you notice even some public speaking coaches and teachers, perhaps when we were much younger, when we were in secondary school, at the nursery school, we're told that for you to overcome your fear, look at the heads of the audience. I'm sure you've heard this before. Don't look at them, look at the heads so that you can overcome your fear. That is not, it's a myth, it's a lie, it's a generally accepted principle, but it's a myth and it needs to be debunked. So let's look at the reality. What's the truth? When it comes to speaking, realize that it is true that a lot of audience members of the audience are evaluating you, but there's somebody in the audience that is your cheerleader. So what you want to do when you stand on the stage is to pick a friendly face. They are friendly faces right there. Look out for them. They're giving you thumbs up. They're telling you can do it. Look out for them. And move your gaze in the direction of others. Keep searching, carefully searching. We contact with each other through our eyes. So you want to make eye contact. You want to establish eye contact. Eye contact is one of your best tools as a communicator. So don't look at the heads of people. You will disconnect totally. Look at their eyes. Find out, because the eyes also give you some kind of feedback about whether you're making progress or not. And their stuff, they begin to memorize. I'm going to teach you speech preparation methodology. I don't know if I've taught some of you, but in the coming days, we'll teach that how to prepare a speech. By Sunday, we'll be teaching how to attend to different kinds of meetings. Like you want to give a toast, what's the best way to do it? You want to give an eulogy, what's the best way to do it? You want to do a valedictory speech, you want to receive an award, you want to facilitate a meeting. In fact, on Tuesday, we'll be having this conversation about facilitation method. A lot of you don't know what it means to facilitate a meeting. When we say you are a facilitator, what do we mean by that? And we'll be taking up one of the tools, one of the facilitation tools called icebreakers. And we'll also show you how you can use it as a public speaker to engage your audience. And we'll also be highlighting a few other tools that are facilitation tools that will help engage the audience, because at the end of the day, audience analysis plus audience engagement leads to audience appeal. Now, if you really want to engage your audience, don't memorize your speech. Let's look at the realities. Let's look at some, don't really memorize the speech. You just mess your whole thing up. When I was a younger child and I was given this debate to do, I memorized the entire speech. So I started off. When I got to the middle or a certain point, I forgot my lines. Oh my God, I forgot my entire lines. And I had to start all over again. I said, I got to that point, I forgot it. In fact, I had the encouragement of my teacher, Mr. Day. He said, keep going, do it, you can do it. I did it the third time. By the time I got to the third time, I forgot in my life. I almost cried on stage. The parents clapped for me. It was the parents teacher association, a PTA meeting actually, clapped for me, and I had to exit that stage, feeling very bad because I'd memorized my speech. So the reality is this: it's far more effective to memorize core concepts of your message than cramming word for word. Don't do that. When you say, what core concept are you memorizing? You're memorizing your quotes. So for those of you who know me, I say it's very important that you quote verbatim. If you're quoting anybody, and you cannot deliver a speech without a quote, because you are not an authority. In fact, it will make you, it's a put off for a lot of people. You really need to start quoting people, all right? So you, in quoting people, quote them verbatim so that you don't quote them out of context or you don't misquote them, don't paraphrase them, quote them. So the only things you want to memorize are your quotes. The only things you also want to memorize are your facts, your figures, your statistics. You want to be sure of them and the core concept, maybe the points. But aside that, don't memorize any other thing. Arm yourself with the key ideas of your message and a good vocabulary rich in synonyms. Should you forget some words, you deserve the freedom to use other similar words to convey the same original ideas. Let's look at another myth. Now, this is another very strong myth I noticed that some of my students want to do when I give them presentation. So I give you a 5-minute speech to do, and then you want to cover 10 points in 5 minutes. You see, we keep getting it wrong. When it comes to communication, it's not all about your content. In public speaking, content is not king, especially public speaking as a communication process or a communication tool, vehicle. It's not all about your content. It's about the audience. It's about the feedback. It's about the interpretation. So that's your focus. So in covering all the points of your speech, your goal is not to cover all the points of your speech. Your goal is to make sure that you get the kind of feedback you're looking for. I went for a meeting one of those days. I was told prior that I will be given an hour to do my presentation. A few days to the event, I was called again and told that I'll be given 20 minutes to give the presentation. When I got to the venue on that day, I was told that I'll be given just 5 minutes to do my presentation. The governor was coming, so I will be given 5 minutes. So I saw myself preparing for 1 hour, but having to do 5 minutes. So what did I do? Did I have to cover all my points? No. I focused on the core, my best ideas, did my thing, and then wrapped up. So we call this, and Ubon Asian also calls it the exhaustive mentality. Always consider your time frame and modify your thoughts. One of the things my students and people who are involved, who I teach, you're very conscious of is be conscious of your time. Don't overshoot. It's called the law of period. Be conscious of your time. It gives you, people respect you when you are conscious. You ask them, how much time do I have? And then you stick with the time. If you're just joining us, I'd like you to mute your sound so that your environment, the sounds from the environment doesn't creep into the class. Thank you so much. Now, always consider your time frame and modify your thoughts. For me, if you're doing a 5-minute speech or 15-minute speech, stay with 3 points. Give 3 major points instead of reeling out 6. People will more likely remember your speech if you take the speech, this above approach, instead of trying to squeeze too much into too short a window of time. So that's cover your speech mentality, entires all your points is not good. Now, let me also say this to us. It's a myth. We always think that, oh, top speakers are not scared. It depends. If you're speaking to a familiar audience, a familiar crowd, of course, you've over time overcome that fear. So you see certain pastors there in a certain environment, they can speak. But if you're going to a new environment, to an unfamiliar audience, an audience that don't know you, there is going to be that tendency to be nervous. Do not worry about nervousness. Of course, I've taught you how to control it. I've taught you how to modify it, how to regulate it, how to transmute it into power. So it's not true that you should not be nervous. Yes, you can be, but here's the reality. Here's what you should do. You see, people think that nervousness is ruinous. That means once you are nervous, oh, that is the end. That's the end. Oh, that is bad. It means you're not a speaker. I've gotten to speak in different platforms. And yes, I've had occasions to be nervous, but I use that as my advantage. You can control and manage your nervousness, but you cannot totally eliminate it. This is a fact. Actually, when you're speaking to new audiences, you cannot totally eliminate it, so you can control it. Even top speakers get nervous once in a while. The goal is to channel your energy, your nervous energy, into positive performance. Use it to your advantage. This is so important. So it's a myth that George Essien is not scared once in a while. Here's another myth that we have. For those of you who want to MC on occasion, or you think that, oh, you have to be funny to speak, or that when you are doing your primacy, your opening, you have to start with a joke. Don't go that route. Let's look at the reality. What's the reality here? The reality is that humor or a joke could turn out to be a very costly mistake. Don't try it. You don't have to be funny to be effective. Humor in your presentation has to be organic, not synthetic. Humor in your presentation has to be organic. That means that the humor should come to you. Don't go to humor. Let it just happen naturally. As you say, sometimes I'm presenting, I didn't plan to share a joke. I didn't plan to be humorous. I just said my thing and people laughed. That's it. So try to make humor that you add in. Don't begin with it. If I don't start with a joke, the rule should be let humor come to you naturally in the course of your presentation. So we'll go into another very, very, very major myth that a lot of people have about public speaking. And I'd like you to write it down so that whenever it comes up, you check out the reality check that we're going to have subsequently, just in a short while. You have to be extroverted or you have to be an extrovert to command audience attention. That's not true. I know a lot of introverted people, extroverts are people who are sanguine or choleric, or people who are very expressive, very loud, very outgoing. Please, if you don't join the group, I'd like you to mute your sound. If you just join in, please mute your sound. All right. So you have to be extroverted to command audience attention. That is not true. This is the reality on ground. Now, public speaking, and I want you to pay attention, has nothing to do with your personality type or natural predisposition. You could be a very calm person, but when you get on stage, you are a different person. You speak for the occasion. I've taught you this before, and I repeat it, and I want you to write it down for emphasis. Think about it. Speaking is an art and an act. Speaking is an ART and an ACT. It's an art because there are dynamics around. It's not mechanical. So even though I'm showing you stuff, at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about your style. It's an art. Then more than that, speaking is an act. You act. You act as if you're an actor. Life is a theater stage. If you're just joining the group, please mute your mic. All right. So there are a lot of people who are very calm on the outside, but when they climb up on the stage, they're different. They speak well. They project their voice. They talk and they share. You don't have to be extroverted or to have be an extrovert for you to be one who can speak. It's purely a skill. Again, it's a skill. It's not knowledge. That's why I tell my students, life students, physical students who come to class, I tell them, look, it's public speaking, not public hearing. You're better off rehearsing, doing a lot of the assignments than just attending class and taking down notes. Taking notes are fantastic. That's where to begin. Listening, watching the videos again, but you've got to be doing assignments. You've got to be telling me a day before presentation that you really want to do your presentation. And that's the way to go, all right? So it's purely a skill both for introverts and extroverts. Both introverts and extroverts have the capacity to learn, master, and deploy such skill into the context of their personality. So we're still looking at some myths. This is also important. This is also something that we have flying around among speakers. You have to speak like well-known speakers to be effective. I know people who try to imitate the man, Martin Luther King Jr., want to imitate Chima Amanda, want to imitate Wale Soyinka, or let's go to pastors, want to imitate David Oyedepo, you want to imitate Pastor Chris Oyakileme or Sam Adeyemi. You don't have to imitate these speakers, right? Let's look at the reality. Reality check. Just be yourself. You're good the way you are. Of course, be the best version of yourself. Be the best version of yourself. Project your voice, animate, use your body language well, or be the best version of yourself. The truth is, imitation is limitation. The best you can ever be trying to be someone else is number 2, never number 1. Now get this right. I'm not saying you cannot extract ideas from people. I'm not saying you cannot copy some valuable ideas, valuable styles. I'm only saying that if you want to totally overhaul or diminish or set aside your personality, just so that you can sound like or look like a George Asian, or sound like or look like a Fela Duruto, you're going to be doing yourself evil. All right? Adopt the methods, show the style. So the methods and the style are not the same thing. The style is where the artistry comes in. The style is where we now realize you understand what you have learned from us and what you're expressing on stage. So it's the style you are expressing that is you. The methods can be copied, but the style should be you. The style should be you. All right. So let's go to the next. This is another very important thing that we think. So I have students who will say, no, I'm not ready, I'm not speaking. I want to be perfect. You really can be perfect. Nobody is perfect. People think that they have to be flawless. No, you don't have to be flawless. The truth is that perfection does not exist. Public speaking is about creating a true and memorable human experience by using a message and the medium of spoken word. That's the truth. No perfection. Don't strive towards perfection. Strive to get better. And how do you get better? By rehearsing. The time when I told you last week that in the global laws of public speaking, that whenever you're doing a presentation should be your 10th time. Your 10th rehearsals. Now the actual presentation is your 10th time. That's what you should be doing when you speak. So let's look at another very major mistake you see people have. They always say that error equals end game. What do I mean by that? So you make a mistake on stage and it's all over. No. You make a mistake on stage and it's all over. No. Error does not equal end game. Let's look at the reality. What's the reality? As human beings, we are prone to making mistakes once in a while. Just don't make yours too obvious and the center of focus. Where necessary, simply make your correction and get back on your message. Let's say you make a grammatical error, or let's say you say something that wasn't appropriate, or you say something that wasn't correct, or let's say you stammered, or you made a mistake. Just calm down, all right? Just calm down, repeat yourself, and don't make it too obvious. Error does not equal end game. Error does not equal end game. So that's pretty much what we want to share. But I'd like to leave you with these words. And it is by Shashanks. Shashanks says that, interesting quote, was on his Twitter handle. He said, public speaking is an art, be it a storyline or be it a story fine. The way you express an ease at which anyone understands your thoughts matters. I like to repeat it for emphasis. Public speaking is an art, be it a storyline or be it a story fine. The way you express an ease at which anyone understands your thoughts matters. So expression and the ease at which people understand your thoughts is what you should be focusing on, and not on all of these mythologies or these myths that we have in public speaking. I hope you got value today. So I hope you picked out some notes. Make sure this video will be available for us shortly so that we can watch it and be aware of the myths surrounding public speaking, and make sure that we don't believe those lies. I don't want us to believe those lies. Is there anyone here who has a question you want to ask? Anyone who has a question, or anyone who learned something today?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Anaviet into another line, sir.
Oh, Pastor Anaviet into you are in class on Thursday. So this is not sounding new, right?
My first time, really had fun. Thank you.
Okay, first time on Zoom, right?
On Zoom, yes. And besides listening to the class again, is the second time is very refreshing.
Wow, that's good. Well done. Amazing.
All right, so I wanted to ask about gazing on people's faces when speaking in public.
Yeah.
Often we minister at events outside our church, like at the funeral service or an open air event, whereby you are not in your comfort zone. The audience is not your members, and you may not have any friendly face to get. And being a pastor, sometime at the funeral, the message you give may not be enlivening, may not be one that can make you have, that can engender a friendly face.
People, okay, let's talk about funerals. And people want to hear what you say. Every word you say in a funeral or an anniversary or a wedding is important. You think we don't listen? They are listening to what you want to say, what you're saying, and there are people who are interested in what does this pastor have to say. So look out for them. Your eye contact is important. You want feedback. One of the goal of communication is feedback. You want to see, are people really getting the message? Even if you want them to think about hell or think about heaven or think about their life, you want to look at their eyes to see that whatever it is you're saying is making some impression on them. So just looking at their heads is not important. Look out for feedback. So if you don't find a friendly face, look out for feedback. Sometimes you're saying things and they are not even paying attention to you. When you notice they're not paying attention to you, you can call them or do an icebreaker just so that you can get back their attention. But it's very important you establish eye contact with people. People want to listen to what you're saying. All right? Fantastic. Thanks for coming around. Who else has a question?
Director, please, I'm not done. No.
Okay, go ahead.
The icebreaker, you say we are working on it the next class?
Yeah, we are working on it the next class, and it's going to be quite practical. I'm going to be showing my face on that day. So, yes, I'll be showing my face so I can show you some exercises, all right, that you can do. I will not show you pictures. I'll show you my face so you can see me and then see some exercises we can do. I'll be showing you slides too. So it's going to be very, very exciting. Trust me on that. Really exciting. We'll take our time to go through it. I gave us this. I placed the schedule in the WhatsApp group, so hopefully, if you go through the schedule, you know when exactly we'll be doing that class.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Another question, Mrs. Chibuzo. Welcome,
Mr. Chibuzo. Is Mr. Chibuzo, sir? Good evening, sir.
Mr. Chibuzo. A long time. Where have you been?
I'm working on crypto something. I'm into the school of the crypto academy. So it has been even right now. We are having training, but I decided to come for this one.
It's good. Welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Hmm.
So the question I have is like each time I speak with people, like I speak on stage, if I speak for a long time, then I will be having katan. I've asked this question before, but you talked about like you said, if I'm using a microphone, which I'm not using, and I do drink water, so I don't know what might be the problem. I don't know what.
When you speak for a long time, you have flu. You have some kind of catarrh.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's strange. That's strange. Have you? And once you're done with speaking, it goes away, right?
No, like after I might have finished speaking, I will be having kata.
If it's long, how long is long for you?
Okay, like 2 hours or 1 hour 30 minutes.
You speak for 2 hours, bro. What are you talking about? Your body is reacting now, but I'm sure that if you keep speaking and speaking, I don't know, it could be it's out of my area. I don't know. It's strange. I've not had anybody say that he spoke for that long and had a reaction in his body. I've not heard. Maybe we'll get to relate to the doctors and see what possibly the issue is. when you speak and then you now have a flu. I've not heard that before for the first time. So what I'll do, we have a few doctors even as students. We have Dr. Adiola, we have Dr. Eno, we have Dr. Uko. Most of them are students here, and surely we can relate that situation to them and see what advice they'll give us about your case. Is that okay, Mr. Ole? Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Remind me if I don't forget.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You can chat me up on WhatsApp and then I'll set up that meeting.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. God bless you. So is there any other thing? Is anybody that wants to do a presentation today? All right. So mind you, next week, Sunday, will be presentation day. All this, our public hearing pattern is not going to happen again. Next week, Sunday, is public speaking. Is actually, I want to hear a lot of us speak about what we're doing, how far we're faring. What about thoughts? Come up with some thoughts and let's hear you speak. That will happen next week, Sunday. But by tomorrow, for those of you who are in the coaching program, this is so important. Yesterday, we had a training, a very practical training on how to create slides. So the videos right now are in the WhatsApp group. Take your time, watch them. We did how to create slides using your laptop. You will need to know it. It's compulsory. At a certain point, everyone in class will be doing presentations, not just with their faces, so we can watch out for the body language. We'll also be assessing you based on how you put your slides together. Right. So don't miss out on those classes. Watch the videos. And so we did how to create compelling slides with your laptop or a desktop yesterday. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about how to do it with your phone. So if you missed yesterday, the live meeting, you have the opportunity to be with us in the meeting tomorrow. We're using our phones to show us how we can go about it. So if we do that on Monday, on Wednesday, is it Tuesday, Wednesday? I can't remember the specific date. We'll be talking about icebreakers, facilitation methodology, how to get into any kind of audience and engage them immediately, what to say, how to say it, what to do. Because people don't just want to hear you, they want to experience you. I'll be seeing that, and I don't want you to miss it for anything at all. And then on Sunday, we'll be discussing how to different kinds of meetings, different kinds, give a toast, give a valedictory speech, eulogies. If you're supposed to facilitate a session, what do you do? If you're supposed to organize a meeting, like just organize a meeting, a simple meeting as a supervisor, what do you do? How do you handle these different public speaking settings? Those are the things we'll be discussing next week, Sunday. You don't want to miss it. They are little tips, but they are very, very important. I also like to make this announcement. I will be in Owerri on the 11th of April. So if you know Owerri, we'll be having a major conference. We do this national conference around Nigeria. We call it Conference of Orators. Conference of Orators happens. We've done in Lagos, we've done in Abuja, we've done in Enugu, we've done in the city of Uyo, and we've done, the first one we did was in Owerri was in 2014, and April 11 was storming Owerri again. Now, it's meetings strictly for speakers. We're talking about public speaking related issues, challenges, the dividends of public speaking, how you can be a lot more persuasive. I'm sure that it will be recorded. I don't know the details, but the organizers, I'm the host, but we have a team in Owerri putting that meeting together. If you know people who are speakers, let them join us. I'm going to put the flyer out there for you to be part of it. And we're looking at Abuja very soon. We will not make this happen. We the students will make it happen. The person who is putting together the event in Owerri is a student who was in a part of what we're doing, and today he's organizing us. So if you are in Abuja, we can set up something, and then we'll just come around and make it happen. Usually the Conference of Orators is actually a free event, but we have advantage sessions where after that meeting, we can have a special session. So in Lagos, we can also make it happen. We could work with any organization to make this happen. So those are a few announcements we have. The last announcement is that we're trying to promote the speaking industry. So we have decided to create, to design, to print out shirts, T-shirts that everybody should have. The T-shirt is just for 4,000 naira. Wherever you are in Nigeria, we'll send it to you. Our students in the offline academy are actually getting it. It has written in front of it, I am a public speaker. I am a public speaker. I think we need to be more confident about who we are as we walk the streets, as we once in a while, we just do a selfie shot or something, telling the world, I am a public speaker, because we are relevant. We are the hope of the nation. We are the voice of our generation. We are the force to be reckoned with. We are forced to reckon with. And so I want you to think about it, plan for it, and that T-shirt will be made available to you soon. I'm going to make sure we all have it. And another thing I want to say that's important is that there are special audios you need to have. I'm going to upload it again for those of us who are new. The first audio is Public Speaking Made Easy. It's free. I'll be uploading it in the WhatsApp group. Make sure you download it and listen to it again and again. And then there's our material, our manual, the manual called Speech Power. I'll upload it now very shortly. I want you to print it out. Don't just read it on your phone. Literally print it out and go through the notes. A lot of the things we've shared here, we've covered them there. And it will help you and guide you, make you a sharper, precise, polished, and professional speaker. And last thing I want to share is that we are, okay, so I think I've shared everything I wanted to say. All right, so those are the high points I need us to know. I like us to be very committed to speaking, to speaking, to learning, to taking down notes. We will be graduating a set very soon, launching them forth to do exploits wherever they are. And we're hoping that you, when it's your own turn, you also go out there and do stuff. Do your assignments. You only get better when you do your assignments. You only get better when you do your assignment. For those of us who are in the coach to be experience, accountability experience, you need to, we'll start teaching you how to use YouTube, how to use all of these facilities to achieve amazing results. I actually have this idea I want to share with you, but skip my brain. I'll probably post it on the WhatsApp when I remember. Thank you guys for being part of this class today. I know that you had so much value. Let me know if you had so much value. Let me know if you had so much value. Did you have value?
Yeah, I did, sir.
God bless you.